to say that I'm very happy to be here and to have this pathology session with you today, and I'm happy to see that we have a lot of pathologists in the room. I've been working on HER2 since when I was a baby in pathology. I started in '86. I was a resident, and it was at the beginning of Professor Salmon's works on HER2. So it's a very long love story for me between HER2 and breast cancer. And this HER2 equivocal category is something that is really problematic for us, because we have to diagnose it, but also to discuss with the clinicians for the proper management of the patients. So the equivocal HER2 category existed before the ASCO-CAP guidelines of 2013, but in fact, the fact that you can treat by trastuzumab patients with HER2 equivocal status arrived with those guidelines. So that's why it all started, in fact, in 2013. So we had this ASCO-CAP guidelines that were published in Journal of Clinical Oncology. And in France, I directed the French guidelines from our working group called the GEFPIX, it's a group working on biomarkers in breast cancer. And this morning you had a talk on TILs, lymphocyte infiltrating, tumor infiltrating lymphocytes. I'm part of the international working group, and I'm also directing the French group, and I really think that you should organize yourself in Egypt to have a group working on those type of biomarkers, to do ring studies and reproducibility studies together, because for those markers it's not always easy to work alone. So let's look at the history of HER2 cutoff, and I think it's not the end. We will still have new guidelines probably this year or next year. So it started in 2000 when we had the approval, the FDA approval for trastuzumab in the metastatic setting, and the cutoff was for in situ hybridization was 4 copies or a ratio HER2 on CEP17 superior or equal to 2. At this time, we thought that we could have too many false positives. In fact, I think it was not because of the scoring, but it was because of the tests that were not DX tests, they were not standardized. But anyway, in 2006-07, we had new guidelines, ASCO-CAP guidelines, with a change in the cutoff, and now the cutoff for HER2 was 6 copies or ratio superior to 2.2. And at this time we had an equivocal category that was for tumors between 1.8 and 2.2. We were only reporting that those tumors were equivocal, but they were not eligible to trastuzumab treatment. So in fact we didn't mention them, and we didn't make big noise about them. And then in 2013 we had the ASCO-CAP guidelines, and I'm going to go through those guidelines with you. So the 2013 guidelines modified the algorithm to account for specimen and genomic heterogeneity, and I will spend a part of my talk on HER2 heterogeneity. It also adds bright field in situ hybridization, so CISH or KISH. Just to remind you that the former guidelines were only for FISH in the United States, in fact, but in other parts of the world we had guidelines also for chromogenic in situ hybridization. Those guidelines were also discussing challenging scenarios and emphasizing the need for clinical pathology correlation and the critical need for enhanced communication between pathologists and oncologists. And the question that were asked and were trying to be asked by those guidelines were, what is the optimal testing algorithm for the assessment of HER2 status, and what strategies can help ensure optimal performance, interpretation, and reporting of the established assays. So on this very busy slide, you can see the algorithm for immunohistochemistry. So I will start with the 3+ category. So there is a big change for the 3+ category, as you know. Before it was superior or equal to 30. It went back to superior or equal to 10% with a strong, complete membrane staining. Then we had a big change for the definition of the 2+ category. So first of all, we had the incorporation of incomplete membrane staining. And at the beginning, and it was problematic for many of us, it was incomplete membrane staining, weak, moderate, and weak was not acceptable for many of the pathologists in different working groups, and you will see that it has been changed since then. So incomplete membrane staining in more than 10% of invasive tumor cells, or of course complete and circumferential membrane staining in less than 10% tumor cells. Of course, because you had, as you have a change in the definition of 3+, you have a change in the definition of 2+. For the 1+, it was when you had a staining that was faint, barely perceptible, so really you had to look at it at a very high magnification in more than 10% of tumor cells. And the negative was when you had no staining or an incomplete membrane staining that was very faint or barely perceptible and in less than 10% of tumor cells. Please also note that we change also the way we give the results. So BHC 3+ is now positive, 2+ is now equivocal, 1+ is now negative, and BHC 0 is also negative. So the guidelines that were provided in 2013 was a kind of going back, not to miss any positive case when using immunohistochemistry. You have to be aware that, and you have still that in some papers, that the level of HER2 positivity in breast cancer in 2000 was thought to be around 18 to 25%. It was because we were looking in majority in metastatic breast cancer, but also that we had assays that were not standardized. With the ASCO-CAP guidelines of 2006, in many countries, the level of positivity for HER2 dropped dramatically to 10%, 11%. So it was a major difference. It was also a major concern for the pharmaceutical company because they were selling less drugs. And they put a lot of pressure to review the scoring system, or at least to try to understand why it goes from 25% to 10%. In France, right now we have we collect the data for almost 75% of pathology labs every year, and the level of positivity for HER2 is 12.9%, with an hazard ratio of 0.6. So it's between 12 and let's say 14, a maximum of 14%. So it's a low level when we compare to what we had back 10 to 15 years ago, but it was really because we were looking at metastatic breast cancer with not standardized assays. I don't think the biology of cancer has changed, but the assays have changed, and the clinical presentation in early breast cancer, of course, you don't select aggressive cases like in the metastatic setting. Something that was very new in the ASCO-CAP guideline 2013 was the incomplete membrane staining. So this is just some images to show you what we had in our guidelines, but it's exactly the same. So the 3+ with the magnification rule, but I think it's a very good way of doing your scoring. If you don't need to go to high magnification, if you are sure about the membrane staining at a very low magnification, it's a 3+, no doubt. And here you have different examples of 2+, and some of them with incomplete membrane staining, in my experience, it's also very important for the 2+, heterogeneous cases where you see that you have some area of the tumor that is 3+, and some area that are negative or 1+. So what are those 2+ equivocal? So first of all, you select cases because then equivocal, the final definition will be, the final term of equivocal eligible to treatment will be after a second test, so usually an in situ authorization. But first of all, let's go through what is the definition by immunohistochemistry. So it will be a case with a complete membrane staining, weak or moderate, like here, in more than 10% of tumor cells. So you have to confirm the complete membrane staining at a higher magnification, like 10 or like 100 or 200. Or it's a complete and intense membrane staining, but in less than 10% of tumor cells, like this case. So it's a true heterogeneous case. Of course, you have always to be very cautious on the surgical specimen when you have a major positivity at the edge of the tumor and when it's completely negative at the center, because it's probably a problem of fixation, it's a pre-analytical issue, but it's not tumor heterogeneity. So here you can see that you have a mix of negative and positive tumor cells. Another case of equivocal 2+ is when you have a micropapillary architecture, like in this case. This is part of the biology of micropapillary breast cancer. You know that you have a kind of inversion of the glands. So the secretory area of the cell is negative, and it's at the outside part of the tumor group. So here it's a typical micropapillary. You can have any intensity. This is a 2+. You need to do a FISH test after that. And it's also this incomplete or basolateral staining. When it's seen like that, so not in a micropapillary but in another type of tumor, when it's seen at low magnification, 4 to 5, in more than 10% of tumor cells. So those are the cases that are equivocal by immunohistochemistry, and they need to go to in situ hybridization for confirmation. And something that was very important in the 2013 guidelines is to clearly explain how to interpret FISH or ISH. And this is something that is very important. You need to have your immunohistochemistry slide to interpret your in situ hybridization on the basis of a comparison between the patterns of tumor cells and normal cells. And you have to go and to look at the cells where you have a staining to count those cells. Otherwise, if you go to another area of the tumor that is negative in immunohistochemistry, you can miss an equivocal case. So it's very important to target in situ hybridization scoring in selecting areas that are immunohistochemistry positive. So there are 2 algorithms for in situ hybridization. One is when you use a single probe for in situ hybridization, the HER2 probe. So here it's easy, it's positive. You don't say anymore low amplified, high amplified. You say in situ hybridization positive when you are more or equal to 6 copies of HER2. to say that you have an inside hybridization negative when you have less than 4 HER2 copies, and it's equivocal when you have between 4 and 6 HER2 copies by cell. So if you have that, the cases will be considered as equivocal, a final equivocal case, and it will become eligible to an anti-HER2 treatment. So if you have only one probe, what matters is the copy number. If you have a dual probe inside the test, so dish or fish test, you will look at the ratio. So if your ratio is superior or equal to 2.2, it will be inside hybridization positive, whatever the number of HER2 copy is. So you can have a low number of HER2 copies, less than 4, and it will usually be monosomic cases. If you have a ratio less than 2, you can have a positive case if your average number of copies is superior or equal to 6. It will be immunohistochemistry negative if you have less than 4 copies, and it will be equivocal if you have between 4 and 6 copies. So at the end, what is important is the number of copies, except when the ratio is superior or equal to 2. For pathologists, so we must report the test result as negative with a single test, or all the tests will show an immunohistochemistry 1+ negative or 0 negative, or if the inside hybridization is also negative, whatever the type of probe you use. This assumes that you don't have any discordance, like a tumor with grade 3, young patient, a lot of lymphocytes. Be always cautious if you this can be an HER2 positive, but otherwise you can be confident. You have to report the result as indeterminate if you have technical issues that prevent one or both tests, and that you cannot really be confident with the result. So this is something that is important, because before those guidelines, we didn't have in the 2006 guidelines a statement that we can say, I cannot give you a result with the sample you gave me, and you need to rebiopsy the patient. And it's always difficult when we say that to clinicians, but here it's in the guidelines. For instance, it's when we have crush artifacts or border artifacts. We will give a result of positive if we have a 3+ positive or an inside 2 positive using either a single probe or a dual probe without apparent histopathologic discordance. For instance, if we have a lobular carcinoma, classical lobular carcinoma with a 3+ immunostaining, it's discordant. So for this case, you need to redo immunohistochemistry or to do a fish test to be sure that it's not a false positive case. And then, what is important for today, you will report the result as equivocal if you have a 2+ equivocal, or if you have started by inside hybridization, if you have an equivocal by inside hybridization. And if both tests are equivocal, you will have a case that is eligible to treatment. And in this group, you can have micropapillary and glandular carcinoma that can be 1+, so the staining is not always strong or moderate, but they can be amplified. So be careful with that. So as I said at the beginning, we had some problem with some of the definition in the first 2013 equivocal criteria for immunohistochemistry. And it was a confusing terminology with this part, so circumferential membrane staining, incomplete or weak, moderate in more than 10% of the invasive tumor cells. So many pathologists around the world send messages to the ASCO-CAP group and asked them to review this definition, and it was changed to this definition: weak to moderate complete membrane staining in more than 10% of invasive cells, so the same as 2007, and it was a footnote for the incomplete membrane staining. So they didn't put it as highlighted as it was at the beginning, but they said that it can happen in some rare type of breast cancer, and in those cases, such as in micropapillary carcinoma, you should test them systematically by in situ hybridization, because sometimes even a 1+ can be amplified. So this was an example of the micropapillary carcinoma I showed you previously, with a CISH test showing amplification. So now we are going to focus on this equivocal category for what do we do with the pathology report. So, how to answer in the pathology report? If I have an HER2 negative or non-amplified, so it's a case when I have less than 4 HER2 copies per nuclei. HER2 positive is when it is amplified more than 6 copies per nuclei, or eligible, so it's not really amplified because I don't have 6 copies, but my ratio HER2 on CEP17 is superior to 2. So this is also HER2 positive. And the cases that are ambiguous or eligible for multidisciplinary tumor board, so they need to be discussed in a multidisciplinary tumor board, is the cases where I have 6 copies of HER2 per nuclei, or more than 4 HER2 copies and a ratio superior or equal to 2 in less than 10% of tumor cells. So those cases where I have cells that are clearly positive, but they are not present in a big enough group in my tumor to say that it's positive. So it's heterogeneity. Or I have cases where I have more than 4 HER2 copies but less than 6, or a ratio less than 2, and this is in more than 10% of tumor cells. So those cases also are equivocal. Okay, so equivocal is when I have heterogeneous tumor, or when I have tumors with between 4 and 6 copies. What is the impact of these new guidelines on the incorporating the equivocal group? So this is some data from my hospital and another hospital in Lyon. So first of all, we looked at the cases, the number of cases that we have tested by FISH in 2011, 12, and 13. So you can see that we were only testing at this time the 2+ group. So here we have 25% of amplification in the 2+ group. Okay, and in 2013 we had a drop in the number of positive amplified cases in the 2+ group, only because the 2+ group is wider and that we have tested more cases. So we have a dilution. Because we are testing much more cases in this group. If we look when we used the guidelines, so just to show you, every year we had 2% of more 2% more of positive cases. Okay, so before the guidelines, I had like 24% or 25%. With the new guidelines, I have between 1% and 2% of more HER2 positive cases at the end of the day. This is the percentage of the ambiguous cases, and this is the percentage of the negative cases. So, as I said, in 2013, as I have tested more cases and more cases that were weak 2 plus or 1 plus, I have more FISH negative, but I have in proportion 1.5% of more amplified cases. What are the characteristics of the tumors with an HER2 equivocal FISH status? So this is the data from my institution in 2015. So in my institution, I have 0.7% of all my breast cancer that have been given a result of HER2 equivocal after immunohistochemistry and FISH. Okay? So 54 cases. So the mean age was 60 years old. The majority of the tumor were localized, and we had the majority of PT2, which is a lot because most of the tumors I have in my daily practice are PT1. I have 75% of PT1 tumors. So this HER2 ambiguous group has the same presentation as the HER2 positive group, so larger tumors in my institution. We had 85% of ductal. We had 5 lobulars, but they were all atypical lobulars, pleomorphic or solid type lobulars. And we had 1 mucinous, 1 apocrine, and 1 mixed type. In terms of nodal status, here again, in this equivocal category, I have a different presentation as I have in my whole population. And the presentation of this equivocal group is very close to the HER2 group. Because I have 54% of not positive in this group. And if I look to the entire population in my daily practice, I have around I have less than 30% of not positive cases. So it's more than what I have, and most of them have micrometastasis. So if I look to the SBR grade, I have rather high grade, 2 plus, grade 2 or grade 3, which is also different from the other type of breast cancer and closer to the HER2 positive group. This is the number of 60% of the node involvement were more than 2 nodes. And if I look at the mitotic count, in the SBR2 group, I have a mean of 16 mitosis in this group, and in the SBR3 group, I have also a high mitotic score in this group. What is, in my opinion, the most interesting thing is that this equivocal, HER2 equivocal group, they are luminal B HER2 positive patients for most of them. We have 90% of ER positive in this group, and you know that in the global HER2 positive family, you have half of the population ER positive, half of the population ER negative. In the equivocal, it's between 90 and 95%. If I look at my